Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, when I asked what our conversation was going to be about today, I hear delay and doubt creeping in. So, the sense that I get is everything is aligning beautifully for you. Maybe you recognize it, maybe you don't. I don't know. I'm not you. So I don't know. But in any case, you're starting to get nervous. You're starting to feel very doubtful of your validity, very doubtful of what's being provided for you by your soul. And that's getting in the way. Whatever this is, that is absolutely getting in the way. And if I'm going to be blunt, if like you can only watch 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds of this conversation between the self and the soul, I'll just give you like the cliff notes. Stop fucking it up for yourself. That's a feeling that I'm getting about what this message actually is. It's just a hearty stop fucking it up for yourself. That's the sense, okay? So, final deck that I'm reshuffling, getting a couple cards. All right, let's get started, guys. Let's get started. Let's see what's going to happen in this conversation. Okay, I get that. Oh, so a recognition of something. Yep, I like these. I like these actually. So, it's an awareness that balance is necessary, right? As you work to rebalance everything, you're probably going to experience just, a few hiccups. That's normal, that's understandable. What you do with those hiccups, how you choose to experience those hiccups is really what's going to determine quite a bit. I think for some, the awareness that the hiccups have occurred and the frustration, the normal, natural, very understandable frustration that you're experiencing a hiccup, it's definitely something that's causing you to get upside down in your magic. This upside down magic card is telling me that, let me take my glasses off. The more frustrated you become, the more you allow yourself to sink deeper into this space of depletion, denial, delay, and just pure doubt. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's okay to question. There's a difference between questioning and full blown doubt. You need to be honest with yourself about where you're at within that. Where are you positioned in those varying degrees of questioning and doubt? Are you simply questioning, needing more guidance, needing more confirmation of the fact that you're moving through this appropriately, you're headed in the right direction? Because even the most confident person, if they're going to achieve something massive in their life, they do need to have some measure of confirmation here and there just to keep their confidence level boosted and them flowing, not fighting their journey. So that's completely understandable. It's when you enter into the full blown doubt where you are just like, who am I even? I'm just me. There's no way I could be special. There's no way this, there's no way that. I'm not a big deal. Okay, that's valid. I'm not going to try and convince you anything outside of what you already believe about yourself. I will say this though. Yes, you are absolutely entitled and empowered to believe whatever you want about yourself, whether it's something grandiose or something extremely undignified. That's up to you. I will not try and convince you of anything different, but you have to understand, just because you feel something doesn't mean you are what you feel. I know quite a few people, not personally, but I've seen them. I would never keep a person like this near me for any length of time. I'm telling you that right now. For any length of time, abso-fucking-lutely not. But I know of the awareness of quite a few people who feel that they are going to be the one to save you from yourself. They're going to be the one to save the world. They're going to exercise some type of dominance over you in a circumstance that doesn't even involve them. And that all you have to do is give them your sovereign power over yourself, and they'll fix everything. Listening to whatever they say will fix everything. I steer clear of people like that. It's one thing to have a conversation, share your thoughts and opinions, which is what I do. I have conversations with you guys, and I share my thoughts and opinions about my journey, how it affected me, how I traveled through that. And then I leave you to decide, like, does any of this even resonate? And if it resonates, why does it resonate? What part of my journey am I to use this as an analogy for? Right? So those type of people, they exist. And just because they think they can do the things that they claim doesn't mean they actually can. Another good example, there's quite a few people who have seen and heard of my work as a parasitic extractor, and they claim they do what I do, despite the fact that they don't know what it is I do when I perform a parasitic extraction. They will claim that they can remove anything, and they'll tell you they've removed things when in reality, all they've done is infected themselves, and now they're going to spread it to everyone else. But they'll never acknowledge that. Just because you feel something about yourself, whether it's in the extreme positive or the extreme negative, does not mean that is the actuality of the reality of the gravity of you. That's a fact. That's a fact. Everyone will experience this at some point in their life. I don't feel like the work I do is a big deal because this is my normal. I don't have anything else to compare it to. But there's a gravity to it that other people recognize and I don't. That's okay. I don't need to be completely aware and have completely mastered that awareness of the gravity of the work that I do for it to have gravity, for it to so positively and beneficially affect my clients. It just does. It just does. And what I need to do is just keep existing in the reality of what it is I do, right? So when you enter into a space of thinking, oh, I'm worthless and I'm this and I'm that and all these negative things, you can keep thinking that, work through your process. Definitely not encouraging you to rush or pretend you're in a stable place of clarity about yourself and your value. I believe in being honest with yourself, but don't fully embody that to the point where you are convinced that that very distorted perception of yourself is actually who you are, because oftentimes it's not. Oftentimes it's not. Okay. If you can get to a point where this is something you can just accept, like this is part of my process, my questioning, my feeling some type of way helps me to realign myself. The questions help me to open myself to receiving the answers and the confirmation from soul. Beautiful, beautiful things begin to happen for you. I'm serious. Every part of your journey is valid. Not just the parts where you feel the most powerful, not just the parts where you're like, you know, on a high horse, feeling really, really accomplished and really, really high on life. That's not a bad thing either. We have to stop dealing in such extremes that we are trying to receive as the actuality. Because oftentimes those extremes are not the actual reality of you. It's just a very distorted perception. With that, If you can see the way your magic is needing to be adjusted, just a little bit, turned a little bit, you can then enter into a space of prosperity. If you can recognize the reason, your awareness of your current upside down state, if you can get an awareness of that, then you're empowered to correct that positioning. You can't correct something that you don't know doesn't exist. I was speaking to a really, really good friend slash family about injuries. And they also have a significant type of injury, muscle imbalance that they've been kind of struggling to correct. And, I had to tell them I don't have enough knowledge and I'm kind of in a weird space within myself that I'm not the right person to advise you on how to correct this. Because again, I'll always be honest. I'm not interested in being right. I'm not interested in being a badass. I'm not interested in clout. I'm not interested in any of that. My desire to help is very genuine. So if I'm not the proper fit, I will let you know that. So I let them know that. And it was a thing of I'll put it in these terms. They clearly felt destabilized within themselves because their expectation of themselves was that they should already know this. How are you going to know what you don't know? I have imbalances in my body because I lack the appropriate degree of proprioception. I am largely unaware of my body's position in the space I occupy. That has to do with my neurodivergency. So, yes, I can have phenomenal form, but if I cannot see myself outside of myself and from different angles, walking around myself as I perform the exercise, how do I know what needs to be fixed? I don't. I don't. That is not a failure. That is not a shortcoming. That is simply a lack of awareness that requires someone outside of ourselves to be able to witness from a neutral state and share in a very genuine, very authentic, open communication type manner. We need to be open to receiving that. The delay and the doubt that's creeping in most likely is a byproduct of our lack of openness to receive the reality of how we are currently positioned in a misaligned manner. Misalignments occur, it's not a failure. Most people have misalignments in their skeletal structure, in their joints, in their spine. That's a hard thing to maintain. That's a very hard thing to maintain. Why? Because we don't realize the way our mindset and emotion affects the physicality and the positioning of that flesh. Misalignments occur when muscle imbalance is allowed to persist. And it starts with the lack of flexibility. When you become stiff, there is a lack of movement, you become stiff, that fascia is affected, the tendons, the ligaments, the muscles, the skeleton, all of that. Eventually, it's a snowball effect. But it all starts from a stiffness, a lack of full range of motion. And what is full range of motion? Your willingness and capacity to be able to feel the full swing of that emotional, energetic pendulum. Society has set us up for failure. Why are you wondering if you're failing? So long as you're abiding by what society is dictating to you as norm and remaining within the parameters set by society, you will continue to fail yourself because you will continue to contract. You will continue to do things that further solidifies that lack of flexibility. If you're not aware, then how are you going to fix it? I mean, are you holding yourself to an unrealistic, unfair standard? Delay and doubt creeps in when your standard is based on someone else's achievements or failures. Let that sink in. If you are comparing yourself to other people, what they've achieved and what they failed to achieve, And that's what's giving you your idea of your worth. I mean, that's something that really will negatively impact your perception of yourself. I think we need to all begin trying to find deeper pockets of compassion for self, acceptance of self, embrace of our natural organic process, right? Um, I think that would be very crucial. I do. I feel that strongly. I was speaking to someone at the gym. They work at the gym, and I'm really growing to enjoy these little conversations that I have with them. And she was telling me, like, uh, you know, if you're going to do competition for anything outside of you and learning what you can achieve, proving to yourself what you can do, then that's going to be like a really negative experience. You know what I mean? And I understand that. Like for me, I'm making it a goal to do a competition because I want to prove to myself that the limitations that society is programming us to believe in once we hit certain ages, especially as women, that none of those limitations apply to me. The only limits that apply to you are the limits you wholeheartedly believe in. So stop believing the people who haven't been able to accomplish the things you set out to accomplish. My Lord, that is such a simple thing, but it's so hard to understand the gravity of that one statement, the gravity of it. Whew. I've had experts in specific fields, specialists in their field of interest, like licensed specialists, tell me that I'm incapable of healing specific ailments without surgical procedures, and that I will become disabled. I will be miserable. I cannot function and live with a quality of life that is appropriate, like the basic minimum quality of life, unless I take a surgical option. It's an option to me. If I don't want to do the work that needs to be done, if I want to continue to doubt, then yes, I have to take that surgical option. But if I'm willing to invest in myself, the time, the energy, the focus, work on the flexibility, work on the embrace of my process, the things I can accomplish. Case in point, at about 25, 26 years old, I was told by a specialist, orthopedic surgeon, that I needed a double total knee replacement, meaning they're going to cut out both my knees as well as a tibiostomy on both legs. Did you know you can correct knock-kneed posturing? You can correct that. As you know, you can correct flat-footedness. It's fucking painful. It takes a lot. Yeah, but you can correct that. I used to be completely flat-footed. Like it would look like the arch of my foot has exploded into my shoe. Now I have an arch. It's not a high arch. It's enough of an arch though. As a matter of fact, remember, I was told that around 25, 26 years old, I had the knees of a 80 something year old. And the only way to fix it was surgery. And I refused. They said I wouldn't be able to walk by the end of the year. It was around summertime. And they were so confident with this. At the end of the year, they expected me to call back because at that point I would have no other option but double total knee replacement. That was 20 years ago. I'm 46 now. So it's either 20, 21 years ago. Zero knee replacement, zero surgical procedures on my legs. Your girl, when I'm not tripping, I can leg press over 900 pounds safely. No injury. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? Absolutely. where once I couldn't even walk on a treadmill, I can go for quite a long time with the ramp hiked all the way up. Yeah, no pain in my knees. How did I do this? I identified all the things that I needed to correct, and I held myself in a space of, girl, we can do this. We can do this. There might be a little bit of hiccups. You might have some moments where you're like, what am I doing? How can I do this? I can't do this. Okay, feel that for a moment. Feel that for a moment, and then show yourself what you can actually do. Show yourself. Show yourself. So, why am I doing a fitness competition now that I've entered into my middle-aged period? Because I'm going to be competing with a lot of women that's much younger than me. Women who don't have Ehlers-Danlos, and therefore their skin will bounce back. My skin doesn't bounce back. I have a lot of loose skin. Because I don't believe in the limits that society tells me I need to operate within. I want to show myself what I can achieve. And I will absolutely do that. I have specific goals, but I'm also holding space for me to not fully reach that goal. If that is the case, that means, okay, there's some adjustments that need to be made, and I'm going to try again at some point. I don't know. It's not my goal to live as a competitive bodybuilder. I don't want that. I want to continue the lifestyle, but I don't want to compete for the rest of my life. I'm good. I don't want to do that to my body. But I want to do it at least once. And if I don't achieve the unrealistic, crazy as fuck goal, I'll do it again. I'll make the adjustments. I'll give myself that amount of grace. Because I've never done it before, so I don't know how to do it efficiently and effectively. I'll give myself that amount of grace. I won't quit. I won't give up on myself. I'll give myself some grace. When you can exist in a space where you can give yourself that grace, knowing you have this like extreme goal, very, very hard. I mean, my brother has trained ladies who have gone all the way to Olympia. I remember one of his friends that he also trained and did body work on, prep work. She was in phenomenal shape. Oh my God, phenomenal shape. Like, girl. She'd been at it for a couple of years already, I believe. She kept not winning. Kept going and kept going. I'll keep going until I'm satisfied with what I achieve. I want a pro card. I do. I want a pro card. But if I feel satisfied with what I achieve without having gotten that pro card, that's good enough. That's good enough. That's good enough. Right? That's called flexibility. It's taken me quite a few years of my life to develop that degree of flexibility within my own expectations of myself. These are cycles. You've gone through this before. You've absolutely gone through this before. And if you weren't aware of what you had gone through before, it's hard to be fully present and apply what you learned the last time you went through this. So now you're being tasked by your soul to go ahead and recognize what it is and apply what you've learned. Excuse me. This is about taking responsibility for yourself, your decisions, your reactions, your chosen responses to your life. Those are very powerful things, because accountability, contrary to what you are kind of coerced into believing and accepting, accountability has nothing to do with blame. Right? It has nothing to do with blame. It has nothing to do with who is right, who is wrong. It has everything to do with recognizing the power you have over your own journey, causation and effect. From the causation you choose leads the effect that you live through. If you don't like the end result, you need to start choosing something different. It's very simple. Has nothing to do with you messed up, you're wrong, this is no. If you don't like the effect that stems from the cause, the option you choose, you have to choose something different. Right? Case in point, very recently, I had witnessed some behaviors from a specific individual that was extremely reminiscent of some of the most heinous, toxic things that I experienced as an effect of a causation that I allowed. There was an individual years ago that exhibited the same behaviors. And because I thought I was being compassionate by being quiet, since that person has nobody from years ago, letting them just continue and continue and continue with their verbal diarrhea in my social media messenger, that eventually led to that individual becoming so obsessed that it became a criminal case that I won in a whole ass different country and a continuing civil suit. I'm not repeating that shit again. So what does that mean? I take accountability for my lack of proactive correction. That time that happened. I'm not repeating that. So no, fuck that. Fuck you. You're out. I don't give a shit about your money. That's how I have to frame it in my head. That's how I have to frame it in my head, unfortunately. Now I'm done. Certain types of behaviors, nope, zero tolerance. You show me the potentiality for that degree of cray cray, fuck that, fuck you, fuck your money, I'm out. That's harsh. But I exist within an industry where if you don't have a clearly defined boundary, if you don't have the courage to no longer doubt your awareness of the direct causation and effect that results from your action or lack thereof, you're going to continue the same ugly cycles. I'm not willing to. I've seen exactly where that headed, and I'm fucking good, yo. I am so fucking good off that shit. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. Mm-mm. No. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't care if it hurts their feelings. I don't. Why? Does that mean to finally prioritize my safety, my peace? Remember, the last time I did that, that ended with thousands of emails. And a large portion of those were emails laying out the plan to abduct me, to me, my children, my husband, viewers, attempts to geolocate me. I'm good. I don't give a shit whose feelings I hurt at this point. No means no. And if I gotta face palm you with my words, bitch, I got a big ass fucking hand. I got long ass motherfucking fingers. I will face palm you to fucking oblivion. And I'm not apologizing. And anyone who doesn't understand why you don't apologize for knowing your boundaries, your worth, and protecting your peace are people who have never experienced being on the receiving end of that type of behavior, because they have the luxury of not knowing they can sit down and shut up. This is about me claiming my power over my journey. This is why the doubts that have existed within me about my boundaries, my worth, and the precious nature of my peace, no, those are very much getting adjusted. Absolutely. 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 Yeah. Yeah. And just for clarification, guys, Unless I've initiated a conversation with you in private regarding any of my children, regardless of what I've shared publicly, unless I, the mother, initiates a private conversation with you regarding one of my children, never discuss with me my children. I am an extremely fucking private person. Never discuss with me anything about my children. I don't care what your opinion is. I don't care. That's inappropriate. That's something we need to learn as a society. Children are off limits. I don't care what your intention is. Children are off limits, right? That's a boundary that will never go without receiving a consequence. I don't doubt myself and my character anymore. I don't. No, I will not be an upside down mirror of someone else's shadow. You're insecure about yourself, so you're going to project onto me. You're going to lash out at me, and you expect me to take it. Why? Because you think I'm spiritual. You think I'm evolved. You think I'm an empath, meaning the perfect target for your fucking histrionic, narcissistic bullshit. Baby boo. I'm not a passive Asian. I am not docile. I kind of look like it. I know, you might want to petition God about how like God totally made me a covert narcissist destroyer. I'm just saying. So many people have mistaken me for someone who will take their shit. No. Unfortunately. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yikes. As you enter into a space of claiming power over yourself and using your sovereignty in a responsible way, a way where you are responsible for yourself, not for everyone else, man, you'll begin to save and accumulate so much of your energy. You'll begin to manifest the appropriate opportunities to be more ready and more properly positioned to better fulfill your actual divine destiny. It's important for you to do that. There's nothing selfish about it. Nothing selfish about it. You know when you're being selfish. I mean, just be honest with yourself. I think for quite a few people in our community, we really struggle with even showing ourselves some degree of self-love and consideration, some degree of self-compassion. That selfish? You're the last person that would ever be selfish. Stop. A good litmus test. Are you consistently worried about how your decisions will affect others? How allowing yourself to receive will negatively impact others? I noticed a pattern for me today. I had some severe dental issue due to a failed root canal, and it had been persisting for like 4 years. And back in like December-ish, yeah, December, I finally made an appointment to go see the doctor or the dentist regarding it so that I could get a proper idea of how to correct the things that have been happening. It's like a chronic infection, right? It's affecting my health severely. And so I finally went in, and I loved the integrity and the compassion of that dental office so much that I immediately, literally, either that night or the very next day, and I just went in for a consultation, a cleaning. I made an appointment for my entire family. And although I knew that I needed this work ASAP, rather than prioritizing the work on my teeth, which was, I believe the infection was starting to enter my heart, I went ahead and I initiated Invisalign and braces for all of my children. I got hella fucking kids. They need their bites corrected so that their teeth remain the healthiest possible. I also made appointments for my husband, got all of his dental stuff worked out, and then months later, I dealt with one tooth, the worst tooth. And now I'm seeing, the other day I got connected with a personal trainer who could help me with the actual prep work for a competition. And as soon as I did that, I go ahead and I start looking for all of these programs for my kids to be in so they can have more opportunities for socialization and development of their self-confidence. I'm talking about now the families and plans of learning multiple new languages. I want my children to be multilingual. They get to pick which language. In addition to that, I want them to be able to defend themselves and have the confidence that they can physically defend themselves in any situation they are in, even if they are alone. So now we're in talks with a school that teaches Krav Maga. I asked them, did you want something with competition, or you can join competitions and rise in rank there? Or do you just want to learn self-defense? Because you either will do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if you want to compete, or you're doing Krav Maga. And I was very clear. Krav Maga is not a competition-based thing. It's not a sport. They're teaching you how to neutralize threats, even armed threats. So with all of those plans, where is the budget for the personal trainer? And I realized this morning, I intentionally do that. I intentionally, consistently put myself last. So I still need to get the rest of the work done on my teeth. I still need to figure out the personal trainer stuff. That's okay. That's okay. It's not a matter of picking which, it's a matter of making sure I recognize I'm just as important to my children as I am to myself. I need to do that. I need to. I don't think I'm capable of being selfish. At this point, I don't think I'm capable of being selfish. I'm far too comfortable prioritizing everything except myself. I'm now recognizing the patterns that I create. No one's asked me to do this in my family. No one has asked me to do this in my family. I do this. I choose this. Are you like that as well? Because if you're like that as well, can we just let go of this thing of like, you're going to be selfish if you finally allow yourself to prioritize your healing and your peace? Because the people who have a problem with your healing and your peace and your prioritization of yourself, these are the people who have benefited from you being in a very unhealthy space within your existence. So what do I mean? I mean, fuck them. They don't give a shit about you. They don't. They want what they want from you, and because you continue to step outside of your circle of protection, you should be the center point. You should be centered within yourself, because you keep allowing yourself to be removed from your space of center. Guess what? They get to keep benefiting off that. They keep getting to feed off of you, right? And here's the thing. I don't want you entering into that like victim mentality because you've allowed it. I'm not saying you deserved it. I'm not saying you initiated it or provoked it in some way. I'm saying you allowed it. That's your part in the continuation. That's how you hold yourself accountable. If I see that me allowing things to continue leads to further unhappiness, then I need to retract from that circumstance. I need to be inaccessible to those type of people. And that's that. It's not about they're bad, you're good. No, people are just people. People are just people. And even people who violate boundaries, they oftentimes don't realize the actual gravity of how they violate the boundaries and the effects of that. I'm sure to some degree they're aware. They're not innocent. To some degree they're aware, but do they know to the degree that it affects you in a negative manner? Probably not. And most importantly, I don't think they care to know. That puts it on a whole nother level. If they don't care to know, why do you care if it will hurt their feelings when you are absent from their journey, inaccessible to their demands? That's a very important thing to learn. that if someone cannot at least match your degree of concern for them in regards to their degree of concern for you, that type of misalignment, absolutely not. Have a beautiful life. Find someone else to feed off of because this buffet is closed. Ooh, this buffet is closed. Patience, right? It's in reverse. So let me blow this wide open. That concept of patience that many empaths use as an excuse, like I just need to be patient with them. They're in the process. You need to begin learning the difference between patience and enablement. Most empaths who don't recognize this yet and continue the patterns, let me break it down for you. Cliff's note time. You're not patient, you're an enabler. Knock it off. That's a cliff note. Running out of time. Slowing down. No. For some of you who are neurodivergent or quantum divergent, which is much more intense, to slow down is to create the wobble. A really good friend of mine years ago, well, if I'm going to be transparent, I don't know if we're still friends, but years ago, they were a very good friend of mine. And I have a very chaotic, almost frantic type energy. I operate perfectly fine with it. And they told me, because I was gauging my journey off of what I'm seeing other people do. And it was like, I need to ground myself. I need to be Zen. I need to be namaste. All these things that I'm not. I have no fucking chill. Ask anyone that knows me really well. I literally have no chill. It's not always a negative thing though. Okay. So with that, I felt like the goal was to slow myself down. For what? Why am I supposed to slow down? Well, because everyone's slowing, because, right? You know what you do when you're like spiritually evolving and stuff? You like, slow down, you're namaste. And it's like, I'm not namaste, I'm namaste cray. The crazy in me, see the crazy in you. Gang, gang, motherfucker. If we're going to be transparent, you have your namaste. The divinity in me bows to the divinity in you. And that's not how I function. I'm namaste cray, yo. Like, we gang up in here. I don't say, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe. Okay. Well, moving forward. So going back to what I was saying, right? That was totally a side quest for a second. Going back to what I was saying, my then friend told me, like, he sees me as the spinning top, that child's toy where you pump it up, you load that charge and then you release it and it just spins really fucking fast. And as it spins, it begins to slow down because that stored energy is being depleted, right? Is being transferred into kinetic energy and it begins to slow down. And the slower it goes, the more it wobbles until eventually it gets knocked off center and it stops moving altogether. And then it clicked in my head like, oh, I'm not namaste. I'm namaste fucking cray. It's okay. It's okay to be namaste cray. Oh shit. Okay, we could do that. We could definitely do that. Yes. So now I'm just chillaxing. I have no fucking chill. Are you kidding me? You get me talking about a topic where I'm passionate. People who don't realize that I'm a passionate person will be like, oh my God, why is she yelling at everyone? And for me, it's like, oh my God, why are you so fucking mediocre in your communication that you can't understand when you see passion? I'm not you, babe. I don't speak in hushed whispers unless I'm struggling to control emotional instability rising from my core. And even that takes tremendous courage and strength to not become silent as you face the things that have broken you in your past, to still be able to find a voice no matter how shaky, no matter how much it cracks, to still be able to speak through the tears and the resurgence of the fear and the pain and the trauma, yet you still have your voice and you can still share. Whew. Oh my God. I'm just coming to that realization right now. Holy fucking shit. Holy shit. That's huge. Mm. Mm. I guess I am actually healing. Mm. Ooh. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Ah. Wow. Holy shit. Okay. So, um, there was this life. It was from around the time frame of like, I don't know, 64 AD. Um, or was it BC? I think it was BC. Very, very old life, right? And this wasn't a lifetime that I was aware of until a couple of years ago when a very trusted friend, she was trying to get the appropriate number of hours in order to fully certify with QHHT. So she gifted me a session and I was like, oh my God, thank you. So in the session, this lifetime comes up and it's this thing where um, the person that I love was, and I went looking for him and I found him in the catacombs. I found his body in the catacombs. And it was this distinct awareness that all of my guardians and guides were like standing over his body in a heap. And they're like, holy shit, she's going to lose her shit over this. Like, we got to find a way to tell her. And I heard that and I saw them. And since then, I had said, I never want to hear or see any of you again. And since then, the only one that I'm able to hear and see is Michael. He's not a guardian or a guide, he's a babysitter. I've been hearing him my whole life and seeing him my whole life. I didn't know that until I think it was like 2017, 2018. I think it's 2018 when my friend did this QHHT. And I was like, holy shit, is that why I don't see any of my guardians and guides? Because I remember, some people had told me some stuff over the years, but I remember specifically, and I hope it's okay that I mentioned his name because I want to give him credit. I was being interviewed by Leo King. We were sitting in his studio. He had me on as a guest for his newly opened, I think like he opened a spiritual channel or something like that. And he was interviewing me. The interview exists out there somewhere. I don't have a copy of it. It exists out there somewhere. He was interviewing me and he suddenly stops and he's like, he talks about how he sees Saint Germain. I was like, oh. I was like, oh. It turns out that is a consciousness that is in proximity to me pretty much all the time because I've heard a couple people mention that they get those type of sensations. And right now, this realization that I came to about being able to continue to speak as I share the return of my awareness of specific traumas, it's like a gossamer curtain was dropped and I see all of them. Mm. Oh, Oh, wow. They were part of my imperial court. Oh, wow. They were part of my imperial court, and they're all bowing in front of me. Well, that's good to know. It's good to know that another layer has been shed, and I'll be able to receive even more the communications of my soul. It's good to know that I'm right on track, right on time, despite not knowing where the track leads or the time frame that I'm working with. Um, Everything is working exactly as it should. I'm sorry, what? I was just told to look down because this is the level that I've just reached, which didn't make sense. So the card that's laid out in front of me is the Master. Master of none but myself in my journey. I will accept that. I will accept that. So allow yourself to live with a playfulness. I think at this point, parts of your journey that your soul wants you to go through are parts where you are given the opportunity to either choose to enjoy yourself as you go through it. Look at that, right? It's a clown. It's a magical ass clown. Or you can choose to fight it, right? Are you going to continue to fight your own process, to fight yourself? I mean, that's a valid choice. Is it a responsible choice? Is it a healthy choice? Is it one that's going to help you move through things more easily? Probably not. But in that additional struggle, you're elevating and expanding the potentiality of what you're achieving. So it's still not a loss, and it's still not inappropriate. That's why I feel it's a valid choice. You're going to make it harder for yourself, yes. But just like the ways in which you make it harder for yourself by adding weights to the bar at the gym, I mean, your gains are much more. As a matter of fact, I just got a notification, short on time, but still want gains. Try this. Okay, Miss Erin Stern. She has some good content. Erin Stern. Mm. All right. So we are the world. Each of us going through this very unique process of self-realization that leads to self-actualization, that then becomes a process from which you will achieve self-activation. All you have to do is listen and stop being dependable for everyone else but yourself. I mean, stop. And I say that as someone who constantly does that to myself as well, right? Allow all your parts to reunify. This includes, excuse me, the parts of you that are held by other people. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, sometimes you choose, sometimes people don't realize that you choose the family, the friends, the environment, and the life, the time frame, even the astrological positionings, placements that you are born into, because some of those people, some of those things, some of those places and environments are holding aspects of you from a previous existence. They are holding it for you until you reach the point where you are ready to receive it back for yourself. That's why you choose what you choose. It is. You have to see what the potentiality of that means. The child within you is the soul. The child within you is your soul. It's aware that at this point, with your human consciousness being the primary filter from which you are using to view and understand the world and circumstances you experience, you are very much still in the infancy. The portion of your soul that is very infantile, that is very unaware, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. But you have to understand there's so much that you're not aware of because you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't allow yourself to shift, to move 1 degree at a time, shift to the left, let your hips shift to the right. If you don't allow that, you know what happens? Nothing. You get stiff. You know, there's an older gentleman at the gym who I thoroughly enjoy speaking with. He's such a kind older gentleman. I thought he was like in his, maybe late 50s, early 60s, because I'm aware he has worked construction and has been exposed to the elements because of his job. I'm like, maybe he just looks kind of like a little bit of an aged late 50s, right? He still has a lot of vitality. So his energy feels like late 50s, but I'm wondering if maybe he's like in his early to mid 60s. I was talking to him the other day. He's turning 82 in May. I was like, I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? 82? He's like, yeah. He goes to the gym often. I see him doing cardio and plenty of stretching. And in that stretching, he's allowing the shifting of parts of him, shifting and shifting and stretching and shifting. It's allowed him to continue to live a very high quality life. He's very active, very active. If you don't allow yourself to shift, you will eventually crumble prematurely. The fragments of you that broke off of you, that flaked off because you rejected it since your environment couldn't handle it, bring those parts back home. Let's see what these cards say. I'm going to have to get going, guys. Ooh, okay. Ooh, okay. I got to do this real quick. So, soul journey. Your soul is acknowledging you're on a journey, and this journey is to bring back your ancestral magic. Things from this life, the ancestors of this life, ancestors of previous existences. It really depends on what your purpose is, but a lot of these things are being brought back to you. And you'll begin to understand what this means if you allow yourself to tap into your intuition. For many of us, because we're unaware, we're kind of like in this innocent state. We're unaware, we're inexperienced still. And because of that, that's giving us the sense that we are still asleep. I promise you, you're not asleep. You're just in the process of trying to remember. You're just in the process of trying to remember. Give yourself some credit. There's no one in this world that is asleep. There are those who are phase locked, and there are those who are phase locked in perpetuity. Those tend to be organic portals. You, my dear, if there's a resonance between us, you're not just here because you're trying to siphon my words so you can regurgitate it later when you produce content and not give anyone credit for the way they've inspired you, which plenty of people that do that. If you are here because there's a resonance, like you feel the truth in your heart, you're like, she's speaking to me. She's speaking from my soul. Like we were just thinking this earlier today. We were just trying to work on this yesterday. That means you're awake. You're awake, but you haven't given yourself the credit yet. So it's kind of like a little bit murky. You're still giving me credit. The credit's yours, my dear. I don't need credit. I'm just regurgitating what your soul has already told you. How do I know your soul has already told you this? That's why you feel the resonance. My words are an echo of what your soul already said when it ding, your cabeza. Your cabeza. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no need for credit and stuff. That's just ego based. And this is a process that's not involving ego. This is a process that can oftentimes be viscerally felt, but it has nothing to do with ego and everything to do with TikTok now getting pissed off at me and trying to make me confirm that I am a human being on a live. Fuck you, TikTok. Sorry. I'm sick of TikTok at this point. Okay, just breathe it out, girl. You're frustrated. I know. Why? Because they're being mean to me. We know this. We know this. And how do you feel about TikTok being mean to you? I don't really give a fuck, to be honest. So then why are you kind of like, well, I don't know, because that's kind of just how I feel when people are mean to me. It doesn't like fully deeply affect me, but I like to kind of just, be like, fuck you. Hello, I told you guys I have no chill. You're no longer allowed to betray yourself under the guise of being a good person. Stop it. When you betray yourself because you're a good person, you're not being a good person, you're being a martyr. And a martyr is someone who's emotionally manipulative. I know this because I martyred myself most of my life. I'm not doing that anymore. Martyrdom is emotional manipulation. Why? Because you are willing to sacrifice yourself and experience harm in order to force people or a specific person to see you in the way you tell them you must be seen. I am who I am. You find me irritating, you find me annoying, perfectly valid. Sometimes I get annoyed by myself too. You find me inspirational? Okay. I don't know what it is. It's inspirational, but it's valid too. I can only be who I am, and I will not dictate to you how to receive the person that you are witnessing in front of you. If I trigger you, I probably have triggered you. I'm validating that. Why am I validating that? Well, because I know your triggering has nothing to do with me. It has something to do with what I'm reminding you of about yourself and your journey. But it's okay. If you need to project it onto me, I mean, I'm not going to participate in it. I'm not. I'm sorry, but your journey is yours, right? I'm triggering something within you that you don't want to acknowledge. So your frustration, your anger, your fear, it's being projected onto me. And the reality is, I'm strong enough to not care. I know it's a harsh thing to say, but I say it to absolve you of the feelings of guilt, because some people, they'll get triggered by me and pissed off by me, and I don't even know they're watching. And then they feel bad because they're like, but she's so sweet. I don't know why I feel this way. It's part of your process. I'm not offended. My feelings are not hurt. Your process is valid. It's not for me to care how you feel. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to do things to hurt your feelings because you're unimportant. That means my opinion of your process doesn't matter. Own your process, own your journey. Stop hiding things from yourself. Stop misjudging yourself, right? Because when you do these things, you block the flow of what you're learning. What are you learning? How to protect yourself and your peace. Far too much the spiritual community. And spiritual community, especially on TikTok, I'm not one of you. Stop trying to make me one of you. Stop trying to claim I'm one of you so you can cancel me and disown me. I don't give a fuck. Please. Anyways, they will try and convince you that having boundaries, having standards, protecting your peace is wrong, is bad. Those people need to just shut up. They need to mind their own journey. They need to mind their own journey. Okay? You do what you need to do because you're the only one that's going to receive the consequences of that. You want to wild out, you want to act a fool. Okay, people are not going to like that. They're not going to receive that well, but you're free to do that. Just know that's most likely going to be the consequence. But here's the thing. If you're wilding out and acting a fool and allowing people to witness this as part of your process of self-embrace and self-healing, those who have the capacity and have the resonance, because they're going through that as well, they'll be drawn to you. And eventually, there's a potentiality of a community being formed around you. Same thing happened to me. I was fucking furious with life. I was furious with life. I was kind of wilding out, you know, um, throwing attitude left and right. Yeah, it was the time my mother died. And I was on a pretty sweet momentum. It was an upswing. My count for minutes viewed, was it minutes or did they already convert it to hours? I think it might have been hours at that point. Hours viewed per week was in the millions. Yeah. My retention time for the videos, which I think on average on YouTube, it's something like a minute, is considered a really long retention time. The amount of time someone will watch you without closing out the video. Mine was at something like 48, 49 minutes. Fucking crazy. And I had to go through that process. I just did. It was my way of grieving. It was my way of grieving. And I knew what it would do. It would alienate quite a few people, and I accept that. I accept that. But that was a process I needed to go through in order to reveal my most authentic self. There is, and I grieved for quite a few years. Let me share this with you guys because it's so freaking profound. Where is it? Is it this? Hold on. Is it this? No. It's important that I share this with you guys. I don't know where it is. I ain't got time for this. I don't. I kind of got to go. Let me just. It was about grieving for an extended period. Grieving. And for the people who don't know why you've been grieving for as long as you have, those people have been blessed with not having experienced the type of pain that you live through. Yeah. It doesn't invalidate you. It just means you were built different and for a different purpose. And that's okay. Here it is. If you don't understand why someone is grieving for so long over something, consider yourself fortunate that you don't understand. Not everyone has to understand you and your journey. Yes, past lives factor in, but also, yes, leave the past life in the past. Now is time to address this life, and there will be things that interfere. It's up to you if you will allow the interference to continue. Because sometimes when things try to interfere, it's because you're on the right path, about to achieve a degree and level of greatness that you've never experienced in your life. And your soul is allowing your awareness of the interference to be front and center, not to stop you, not to discourage you, but to invite you to double down on what you are about to achieve. Ooh, damn. Ah, yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready and I'm willing. Just show me where to place my feet, soul, and let me know how quickly I need to move them. Because I'm ready and willing for full flow of my destined path. And this is the perfect place to end our conversation. For those who are on all other platforms except for TikTok, I do have a baneful protection workshop coming up. This is literally the last time I'm going to offer this. Okay. I offered it once before. I didn't want to offer it again. Some of my students from my certification program asked if I would, just because it's a very powerful, powerful tool to help them as they go through certain types of things. So I'm offering again. If you're on TikTok, click on my bio, the link in my bio, and you'll find it. It says Baneful Protection Workshop. And I believe it's this weekend, maybe next weekend. I think it's next weekend. I have the Morphogenetic Fundamentals workshop that's coming up. This is where I teach you aura spectra bioregenesis, the basics, the fundamental principles of that. And it will powerfully, powerfully give you the tools to go ahead and maintain your personal auric field. It's not teaching you how to work on other people. If you want to learn how to work on other people, that would be my certification program. The Morphogenetic Fundamentals workshop is a prerequisite now for my certification program. And my certification program, it's a 40-hour intensive program. Level 1 has an application process complete with interview. Y'all, if I'm going to really go all the way with converting my academy into a full-blown higher education university, the standard of admissions has now changed. It's no longer as long as you can afford it, as long as you initiate a payment plan. No. There's an application process. Only the cream of the crop will be allowed to learn from me. The cream of the crop. I will no longer accept those who lack integrity into such a profound program. And those who have been in my program, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The profound nature of what I teach. Y'all, my last class, my students performed as a team etheric surgery. I'm so fucking proud of all of them. I'm so fucking proud of all of them. And that was level 1. They performed etheric surgery. Yep. Fucking badasses. So, Morphogenetic Fundamentals workshop, that's a prerequisite for my certification program. And yes, now there's standards that are very elevated. It is a very exclusive program. And no, I'm not choosing based on my emotions. Absolutely not. Everyone goes through a very specific application process complete with interview, just like you do for college, complete with interview, along with a prerequisite of the Morphogenetic Fundamental workshop. Okay, so I got to get going. I hope whoever needed to hear some component of this conversation has received what their soul has been telling them they needed to know. I hope I was able to confirm whatever it is that your soul wanted you to have confirmation for. And I hope you know you fucking got this. It might not feel like it all the time, but you got it all the time. You were made for this. Everything that you're going through is doing nothing but bringing out another aspect of you. Embrace it. Embrace it. Put your hands up as you go down that roller coaster. Makes it more fun. So have fun as you learn, be present, and I will see you guys again the next time I have time to have conversation.